Welcome to the Ayurvedic Woman podcast, speaking truth about Ayurveda, yoga, spirituality, and female empowerment. Jai Bhagwan, Women Warriors, and welcome to the Ayurvedic Woman podcast. It's 2023 and it's February. This is the first podcast I'm doing for the year. I actually take January's just as like reflection and organizational time. I know a lot of people like to really get out of the gate with January, and they're like, new year, new you. And I actually find a lot of that stuff bullshit. I think that you need to, have some thoughtful time. And so I didn't want to jump on the new year, new you bandwagon, and decided instead that I would be a little bit more thoughtful about what I wanted my own year to look like, in addition to organizing a lot of women's groups that have started this year. So here I am, starting in 2023 in February. So if I haven't wished you a happy new year, I realize I am a little behind the times here, but happy new year to you. Today we are going to talk about the anatomy of confidence. So this is an interesting one. I was chatting with some of the gals who are on my team in my inner circle, and they were talking to me about conversations that they were having with other women regarding the idea of confidence, and that the thing that they felt that they lacked was confidence in their life. And I found this absolutely fascinating. And so I wanted to take a little deeper dive into that. The idea was that they were talking about having confidence, not having it, and how to get it, and what it looks like, and how if they had confidence, it would make their life a little easier. So that is the topic of what we are going to discuss today. So like most things that I do, I love etymology. And so I like to go back to the roots of words and definitions and all of that. And so I have with me here today a few different actual definitions of the word confidence that I wanted to share with you, and then kind of spin off from there about how this relates to Ayurveda and health and all of that. So the first definition is about confidence that says the, quote, state of feeling certain about the truth of something. The second one is a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. The third one is the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something. Firm trust. There were others, but these were kind of the three that popped out to me, because if you look up anything in the dictionary, it goes on infinitum. So I just decided that I was going to pick these three because I actually found them the most intriguing and they really popped out to me. So let's think about this for a moment. I'm going to repeat them again. The state of feeling certain about the truth of something, a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. And the last one was the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something. Firm trust. So as everything, I always wrap it into Ayurveda, this science of life. And when I go back to the roots of Ayurveda, we talk about that Ayurveda has two goals, and the two goals which are basic tenets for Ayurveda as you want to embark on that journey is to understand that when we're speaking about health, Ayurveda's two goals are, the first one is to keep the body in a state of health and free of disease. Pretty simple. Most medical sciences want to do that, although there may be some questions around allopathic medicine, but I digress. The second part of the second goal of Ayurveda is to show us how to use our health as a basis of or as part of the path to enlightenment. Now, I don't know a lot of medical sciences out there that discuss the idea of enlightenment, but that's what makes Ayurveda so cool. At least that's what I think. So let's tie this a little bit to the idea of confidence. If we look at these things, if we look at keeping the body in a state of health and free of disease, and if we look at it that it shows us how to use our health as a basis of, or as part of the path to enlightenment, the idea of confidence and all of those three definitions that I just read, confidence is enlightenment. It is actually enlightenment about yourself. So many of you have heard me use the term svasta before, and I've mentioned it in previous podcasts, but I want to connect to this idea of confidence and what I just mentioned about enlightenment to this idea of svasta. So svasta comes from two Sanskrit terms, and it's made up of two separate words. So the first is sva, meaning the self, and the second is sta, meaning to be established or solid in oneself. And so therefore, when we put these two words together, we get svasta, meaning to stand solidly in the self. So if we stand solidly in the self, that means that we have confidence. So what we're also taking into account when we're talking about the idea of svasta is the two selves, because from a Ayurvedic perspective, there are two selves. There is the big self with the big S, that is really the soulful self. This is your true self, or what is often referred to in yogic texts as the Atman, or the soul. And then we have, however, also the little s of self that is included in this definition. And that has everything to do with our ego. And now remember, the ego self is what wants to protect us, to keep us safe. So we have to have both. It is, however, a fine dance, and it is also something that we can use one to enhance the other, so to speak. So when we wrap the idea of svasta, to firmly stand in the self, we're talking about confidence. Confidence is a key component of our health. It is the foundation of our health, actually. And when we lose confidence, when we don't have it, when we lack it, when we feel downtrodden, we are actually in a state of dis-ease. So our inability to be healthy starts with this idea of not standing firmly in the self, which is our confidence. So this is kind of the anatomy of confidence, so to speak. So if one of the goals in this science of life, or in life in general, is to keep the body in a state of health and free from disease, then we have to work on strengthening our confidence, just like a muscle, so that it doesn't atrophy. If we want to use this health as a basis of, or as part of, the path to enlightenment, we have to cultivate, nurture, strengthen, experience, and embody confidence. Confidence is enlightenment. Now, just as the concept of svasta says that there are two selves, remember we have our big self, big S, higher self, soulful self, and little s, small self, ego self, protective self. If svasta is talking about these two selves, the true higher self and the ego self, we have to be careful to take in the right diet of confidence in order to achieve enlightenment. We cannot just support the ego and achieve enlightenment. We actually see that happening every day of the week in society with this consumer mentality and the social media storytelling that goes along with it, all that actually works against strengthening your confidence. I've spoken to so many women who say that when they look at social media, it lowers their confidence. So my question is, why the fuck are you doing it? And you're taking away not only from your confidence, but you're taking away from your ability to be enlightened. So we have to put this diet together in an appropriate way. So what we have to do is discover, cultivate, exercise, and experience the higher self, the big S, to strengthen our confidence so the enlightened path can actually reveal itself. We can become actualized. Now, there is also a trick to this diet, much like when we talk about food combining, okay? It's for maximum nutritional value. We can use the protective nature of the ego, the small s, the small self, to help us navigate the path to the true self, which allows us to gain and exude confidence in the right way, the enlightened way. So that's a very interesting thing. So remember, confidence is enlightenment. And as I tell all the women in my program, you have the ability to be enlightened right now. Right now. So I hope this is making sense. I hope so. Because I actually find this absolutely fascinating. The world in the West has actually chipped away at our collective confidence, and individually, especially over the past several years, by putting us in a constant state of disease and furthering us away from the path of enlightenment. And quite honestly, it's time for us to take that shit back, because we have looked externally to all of these others outside of ourselves to help us give ourselves confidence, when actually we are getting the complete and utter opposite. So let's take it back by going back to those initial definitions I shared when we started, okay? So let's do it again. The first definition: the state of feeling certain about the truth of something. Okay, let's pick this one apart. First of all, two things. Certainty is absolutely subjective. Case closed. What I may feel certain about is not necessarily what you're going to feel certain about. And why is that? Because we all have different backgrounds, different histories, different traumas, different samskaras, different karmas. So the key here is that the only one that can establish certainty, which is the second part of this, about your life is you. That's it. You are the only person that can establish certainty in your life. It has to begin with you. The bullshit about experts out there that are saying this and that is complete and utter lies, and actually total crap. You are the expert on you, nobody else. And like I said before, this is what's gone on over especially the past 3 or 4 years, where it's like, oh, you have to believe the experts, they know better, et cetera, et cetera. Fuck that. No, the only person who's an expert on you is you. So take that power back. Now, you can ask for advice. We all do. But if you're looking for certainty from experts or out there in the universe, you're looking in the wrong direction. Get with yourself, go inside, and find your own certainty and block out the external noise. Block it out for good. If you do this, you have just added a pound of confidence muscle. Boom! Confidence muscle. We love confidence muscle. The part about this definition is the other part rather, about this definition is this idea of truth. So again, the state of feeling certain about the truth of something. So when we're talking about the truth, there are eternal truths that we all know that are inside of us, but they are inside. Again, if you get caught up in the distraction of the outside world, you will never find your own truth, because there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of snake oil salespeople out there selling you their version of the truth and profiting off of it. Girl, stop handing out free money, boo. You are worth way more than that. So the only person that knows the truth about you is you. So the only person who knows certainty is you. The only person who knows truth is about you, is you. That's it. So get with it. The truth is inside of you, and you will find it as soon as you look inward. It actually will take you less than 3 seconds if you're actually paying attention. I say to my husband all the time, especially over the past several years when the media was at its loudest and continues to be loud, but I really just don't even pay attention. But the only truth that I know that I say to my husband all the time is the one that exists inside of me. I know what is actually best for me. And so, the only truth that exists is the one that comes from my heart. And all of these people that are out there, they're trying to, fact check. That's like a big thing now. I remember at the height of COVID, it was like, oh no, fact check this article, blah, 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 blah. Oh, Christmas. Whether you are trying to fact check speeches or comments made by politicians or big pharma or big agro, you're wasting your valuable time. Who gives a shit? Really, why do you care? How does that have any relevance to you whatsoever? The folks that are doing that, they're just giving you their version of the truth because they can profit off of it. The real truth is inside of you. Tune the other shit out and go inward. If you do that, you add another pound of confidence muscle. Boom, again. Let's go to the second definition. So let's read that second definition again about confidence. A feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. What we just talked about, going inside, finding your certainty and your truth. This is how you enjoy the feeling of self-assuredness. Nobody, I repeat, nobody can create that for you. Only you can, and this comes from trusting yourself and the innate gifts and qualities you possess. Isn't that interesting? The only way you can do that is by trusting yourself. We have such a lack of trust for ourselves, ladies. It's actually sickening. It actually is disease causing. Get back on the trust train, babe. You deserve that. Stop looking to other people to mimic because that's always the thing. It's like, oh, well, if I just wear this outfit, if I just get that haircut, if I just look like this in my physical form, if I just get that house or this car or whatever, then I will be like that person. And then therefore I will have all of the things it is that they have in the form of confidence, et cetera, et cetera. No. What lights you up? What sets your life on fire? Go after that. This will not only give you certainty about your gifts, but it will reveal to you the real truth, and that you will fill yourself with self-assurance and grow that ability and that quality of muscle. If you find those things that light you up, that you're like, yeah, this is the jam. This is what my natural ability is. This is what I can bring to the world. That is what is going to give you all the self-assurance that you need. You don't need anybody else's approval. You don't need anybody else out there telling you like, oh, this is okay, yes, etc. If you keep doing that, you are going to waste your entire life. And you're never going to gain any confidence muscle whatsoever. Stop looking to other people to mimic. Another pound of muscle gained. Boom. Finally, the third definition. Let's reread that again. The feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something. Firm trust. Okay. So this may sound pretty, shall I say, American or Western, but I'm going to expand upon this. So just give this a second here. The only thing or someone that you can rely on 100% is you. And I don't mean that from this like, oh, pull yourself up by your bootstraps bullshit thing. No, this is not a platitude. But The only person that can do anything, change anything, create anything, destroy anything for you is you. So there is truth in that statement. The only thing or person that you can rely on 100% is you. So if we start from there, yes, we can have our peeps. I got my peeps. You have your peeps. And I have my peeps that I rely on for various things. But this is also an exchange. This is an energetic exchange. I have to first trust myself before I can trust anyone. It is me that reinforces my belief system, not anybody else. And this is the magic of it. The magic is that when I believe and I trust in myself through this process of svasta, which leads to confidence, etc., through standing in myself, I reinforce for those that I love and rely on that they should and can do the same. Trust in the self equates to trust in others, which equals others trusting in themselves. And it's this beautiful chain reaction. It starts with me. I pass that ojas, I pass that prana to somebody else. They get infused with it. They develop their self-confidence, and they pass that to somebody else. So surrounding yourself with the right people, surrounding yourself with the people that you can infuse with confidence, that infuse that back to you, that also will say, hey girl, come on, you know better than this. You can do better than that. Show up. You can do that. Even when they say that in a challenging way, they are infusing confidence in you, and you are gaining that. You are exchanging it back. You're taking it back. You're giving it back to them, and it becomes this beautiful cycle. Whoa, right? Like, pretty fucking cool. Confidence is not something that can be gained overnight. And especially in the state that we're in now in our culture, where a lot of people have lost a lot of confidence in a lot of different things, mostly because they've put their confidence and trust in institutions when you are your own institution. You have to put your own confidence in your own institution, this thing, this physical vessel, this spiritual being, this higher self, because you can have enlightenment now. And it can take a long time. It took me a long time to get there, but it can happen and is absolutely worth the practice. This anatomy of confidence must start with the self and be sustained by the self, by looking inside, doing the work, testing yourself, taking risks. But most of all, it has to start with putting yourself first. I say this to all the ladies that are in my program. You are the most important person in the world. Stop taking second place because you were programmed to do that, sister. Stop. Put yourself first. Put yourself before your kids. Put yourself before your partner. Put yourself before your spouse. Put yourself before your job. Put yourself before your parents. All of those things. And stop apologizing for it. Stop apologizing. I say this to women all the time. You have nothing to be sorry about. Nothing. Nothing to be sorry about. So stop saying that you're sorry at every friggin' turn. Okay? It's bullshit. You have every right to be at this table. Every right to show up. Every right to grow. Every right to expand, to become, to achieve, to be in a state of enlightenment. You can be in enlightenment right now. Put yourself first. Stop apologizing and put your damn self first, because when you do that, everything falls into place. Everything. And you give the confidence and permission to other women to do the same. Thanks for listening, ladies. Jai Bhagwan, and as always, may your soul be victorious.